Okay. So, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hi, Gloria, and hi, every other person uh, participating within this platform. We're happy to have you on board again today. Um, it's such an exciting topic that we're going to discuss, and I'm looking forward to it because it's a topic that will help us not just within this pandemic period, but it's a topic that will help us, beyond the pandemic. Mental health issue has been a very hot topic all this time, even before the pandemic, and it's not going to go away. So it's interesting to be talking about such a topical subject. So before we commence, let me welcome my co-host, Gloria Opara, who is a counselor at Medway Council. She's the founder of Cyber Engineers. And each time I talk about that, each time I mention Cyber Engineers, I just see myself burst out grinning from ear to ear. It's such exciting to see a woman of such caliber. So how are you, my dear?
I'm very well, thank you. You're always so kind. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. It's also very inspiring to see what you're doing, especially during this time of the pandemic, knowing that there are people within your sector who have gone very, very quiet. And here you are, you've taken on board, technology, you're still reaching out to your clients and your service users. You're determined to make this work every time. Your timetable is very impressive, your weekly timetable. You have something every day from Monday to Friday. That is remarkable. And beyond, besides all that, you also go out of your way to go delivering food and whatever. And on top of everything else, you're also studying for your PhD. I take my hats off.
Thank you. Yeah, we just have to, you see, there was a saying that somebody gave to me. I want to read that saying because I think it will motivate other people viewing this now.
Go for it.
Yeah. So there's this motivation and a motivational speech that I was given 2 days ago. And that motivational speech says, the place of darkness can be the place of delight. Mm. And it went on to say this COVID-19 pandemic that has brought death, suffering, pain, anxiety, and so on, can also bring growth, new ideas, wealth, love, community feelings, and understanding. Mm. And it says there is treasure is found in the darkness of suffering. So,
wow,
I like it. What do you think about this wise saying, this quotation?
I think it's amazing because let's even look at what we're doing now. We've been doing this for 2 weeks or more.
More.
And you know what? You and I would never have come up with this if it wasn't for this dark place that we all now found ourselves. In fact, mental health, the main reason we started doing this talk, regular talk shows, is because of our mental health. We sat down and we thought, here we are boxed into a place, they call it a lockdown. Most people can't go out, we can't do this, we can do that. Can you imagine what that could be doing for people's psyche? And this is how this program came about, right? Yes. So it is in that dark place that if you can find the strength, you will find the treasure that you're looking for, the beauty. And I will say this, in so many homes today, a lot of good things are coming out, of the lockdown. People are getting closer to each other or to one another within families. Yeah. Another thing that could happen is that we may have more babies.
Oh, that's good. But we have to support and contribute with their social capital. That would be nice.
Yeah, not from me.
Yes, no, we not enough. That's really great. So
I've done my share, but not from me. No, thank you.
yeah, a place of darkness can be a place of light. Okay,
Yeah,
and
I agree.
that's wonderful. So that will help us to look at our mental health. So last week we did talk about communication being the cornerstone for good relationship in the family, in the community, in the place of work. And so we really stress the importance of communication. And today we're going to look at, the mental health and keeping, positive mental well-being in the family, as adults and for your children within this time and beyond the pandemic. Even as we are, the government on Sunday will be telling us, the steps that they will use in gradually winding down the lockdown. So even at that time, we need to begin to think about how do we strengthen our mental well-being. So that would be wonderful. So that's what we'll be looking at today. That's part of the agenda. And so we quickly keep reflecting on this topic as we go along. And then that quickly brings us to mental health. What does that mean? What does mental health mean? There has been lots and lots of definitions and explanations of what mental health is or, what is not. But what we're going to use, the definition that we want to use today is that given by the World Health Organization, which says that mental health is a state of well-being. So it's in well-being comes in. It's a state of well-being in which the individual, in which any one of us will feel that, we'll be able to realize our own abilities, what we could do, how we could cope. So resilience comes in. How we could cope with the normal stresses of life, how we can work productively and fruitfully, and how we're able to make contributions to our own, to the economy and to our communities. So let me take it again. As World Health Organization says, or let me give a verbatim, rather than, paraphrasing, let me give a verbatim definition that World Health Organization gave. It says that mental health is a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her own community. So if we unpack it, if you unpack this definition, it means that when an individual is not able to cope with the normal day-to-day stresses and anxieties, when an individual is not able to work productively, to cope with work and to work productively, then when an individual, because of these stresses and anxieties, are not being able to work, then this person is not able to contribute to the, to his or her own community. Then this person will now know that their mental well-being is not good. It's not, so it's been impacted upon. So I think that's when you unpack it like that. So anything that prevents us from contributing to the community, anything that makes us not to be able to work, anything that's, and any time that we cannot cope with the anxieties and stresses that are being thrown at us daily, then we know that our state of health and well-being has been compromised.
And so I must say this, that, one of the reasons, again, you coming up with this idea and working this through is to ensure that people are in touch with their own self. You know, they are able to articulate or to identify what their strengths and weaknesses are. Okay, it's a good place to be. You want people to be able to identify quite positively with who they are. So being able to find out their own abilities and being able, with those abilities, to cope with the stresses of life. You know, you can't go out as you used to be. You can't do this, you can't do that. You know, when in lockdown, you can't go and see your family. As a grandparent, you can't hug your children. And therefore, putting these programs together is just to enable people to find out a balance and a way of still being able to maintain their mental health during this time, right?
Yes, it is.
You know,
exactly.
and still being able to contribute towards your community. So if you are out there, even just being able to check on your neighbor by phone, or when you're out walking your dog and things like that, you are exhibiting the characteristics of a good, stable mental health. If you are volunteering in any sense, you're doing that. And so, you know, all this will help us. It's just for us to be empowered, to be equipped in dealing with, you know, confinement, so to say.
Exactly. The stress of confinement and isolation. Definitely. That's great. Thank you very much for adding to that. So yeah, we quickly come to quiz time. So Gloria, I'm going to ask you this.
Oh no, you're not.
I try it open, but I wanted to test you on this.
Oh my goodness, you didn't tell me you were going to test me.
I'm not asking other people here. So I need you to answer true or false. Men are more likely to be diagnosed with autism. What did I call the other one?
Tourette's. Oh
Tourette's, yeah.
Tourette's, yeah.
Tourette's syndrome, yeah. Dyslexia and schizophrenia.
I'll go for
true.
I'll go for true.
Well done. Why? What made you think so?
I think, especially with Tourette's, I mean, I've seen women, I don't know any, but I've seen them obviously in on the media who have had that. But mostly it's men that struggle with that.
Yeah.
And autism especially, in my former life as a school teacher, I've come across obviously thousands, literally thousands of young people. And I find that my boys are usually those with autism, you know, so more than the girls. Not that the girls don't have them, but majority of autistic learners are within the male sector, section.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. So great. So I'm happy you got that.
Yeah. Now you're making me worried.
Don't worry at all. So, like we said, in this past few weeks, I'm running to 2 months or so.
Oh gosh,
I don't know. So this past weeks or 2 months or so.
Yeah, coming up to 2 months, isn't it?
No, coming up to 2 months. Yeah, that's true. Of pandemic, COVID pandemic. You know, many people would agree that they've been worried for one reason or the other. They've been anxious. You know, adults, children are finding themselves stressed because they can't see their friends. They can't go out. They can't go to the green to play with, one another. They can't go. They don't go to school to socialize and study. So it's not just the adults that are, affected by, staying at home and following the instructions that are being given by, the different authorities. But younger people also are finding themselves, stressed because of the lockdown. And so the mental health and mental well-being of each and every one of us is being affected. And so it's important that this time that we will actually have to look at what do we do? How do we stay positive? And not only that, not just the daily, anxiety of wanting to, listen. Most people are actually living off the news on every minute COVID. They just sit down there and listen to, the media and all the, news of people dying and people.
Quite depressing.
Exactly. And they just can't help themselves. They just keep listening to this news. And that, it has a knock-on effect on your mental well-being.
It does.
Yeah.
I think it was 2 days ago when, it was shown that we had exceeded the 30,000 mark.
Oh, wow.
Actually, I cried. I literally just wept. And that's how overwhelming the news can be sometimes.
And imagine
that broke my heart.
Yeah, imagine somebody that they don't have any other pastime because they are locked indoors, no other pastime. You're just listening to the news, and you know how that's going to be for this one. Okay, so and for the young people, now I mentioned young people too. I was so happy to see that the World Health Organization had have a toolkit for parents to help parents to look after the mental well-being of their children. And so at the end of this discussion, we have resource link whereby you could see the link for adults to go and check and get that information, the toolkit to help us look after the mental well-being of our young children.
That'll be good.
Yeah. So keeping a healthy mental health is really, really important at this time, as we have said, especially with all the news that we've been receiving. And so what we're going to do is to give some, useful, outline some useful strategies that one could use to better and to improve or stay positive within their mental well-being. So that's what we'll be doing today. So we'll go quickly to some of those strategies, top strategies. And remember, this is not, there are other things that you could do, but we're just giving you, some of the strategies that we found useful. So I believe, and, to just summarize this particular slide, I will bring it as, having a positive lifestyle. So to have a positive lifestyle, there are things you need to do. Do not because we are all, locked in and isolating that the next thing, and we're not going to work. So one will wake up in the morning and the first thing one could do is to pick up a glass of wine or a bottle of something, alcohol, and start drinking. So one should be mindful of what they're drinking and how they're drinking it. Because we're in a seclusion does not mean that the required limits of drinking for both men and women, that does not mean that it does not apply. It still applies at this time. So one should be very careful. We need to also, eat properly, eat well diet, balanced meal, So cook good meal, vegetables, and all that, but eat at the right time. Some people don't eat in the morning, they don't have their breakfast, they don't have lunch, and they eat one big meal at the end of the day, and and just go straight to bed. So people should exactly eat the right size and eat at the right time. Have your 3 square meals: breakfast, lunch, dinner. You could have brunch. You could have, when you feel like having brunch, you could have some vegetables, some fruit, carrot sticks. I think I love carrot sticks and all that. And drink lots and lots of water. When I ask some people, I have this program I do, which is called Eat Smart and Move Smart. And that's a campaign to get people to know the right size to, eat and how to exercise regularly and drink regularly. When I ask them, do you drink regularly? What quantity do you drink? Do you know what they said to me? Oh, we drink. What do you drink? We drink tea and coffee. No, my dear, drink water. If you think it's so plain to drink water, put a slice of
lemon, yeah,
or carrot or apple,
cucumber, you know,
or apple, whatever. But drink water, clean, water, and drink regularly. Sip your water all the time. That's really important. So, and go to bed. Exercise is good. For some people that say they can't sleep, make a routine of exercise. Some people say, oh, I can't go to the park because I'm afraid I'll catch something. Okay, don't go to the park. You could stretch in the morning. Wake up stretching, do some routine exercise, jump up and down, climb upstairs, up downstairs, stretch at any time, put music, even in your living room. If you don't have a garden, put some music, dance. Dancing is very good exercise. People don't realize that. Not only that the music make, has a way to feel good.
Lighten your spirit.
Exactly, but also that all your body, as you are dancing, you are exercising. So do that and exercise, and you'll find yourself that at the end of the day, if you've eaten properly, you ate the right size, you drank enough, and you exercise, you will sleep well. But make sure that you sleep on the average 8 hours every day. That's good for you, and it's good for your mental well-being.
It's also important, and the first point and the last one kind of go together.
Yes.
The first one says, talk about your feelings, do not bottle it up. And then the last point says, keep in touch with family and friends. Strong and supportive social network is good for your mental health. This is all about, being able to communicate. Remember, the last episode was on communication. Talk to people.
Yes.
Make sure you are ahead. Make sure you have within your circle, within your network, 1 or 2 people or more who can listen to you. Do not bottle things up. Share what you have. You know what? No one is an island. We all need one another to be able to maintain that healthy mental health, state of mental health, because it's needed. No other time, no more at any other time than now, because here we are, confined to a space that some of us in the past will not even be at home for days on end because we work away from home. But now we have, we find ourselves just staying indoors or working from home, as we call it now in some cases. So those 2 points go together. Please do not bottle up, your anxieties. Yeah, make sure you're sharing with your network. This is a time to reach out and develop those relationships that you've long forgotten because you were busy working. We've all been there.
Yes, I'm really happy you said this, because internalizing your feelings will not be good. It's not helpful at all. And networks, very, very important.
Yeah.
And I love it this time. I know that some community members are phoning one another, and some churches are also making sure that they're phoning their congregation members to make sure that they're well. So make use of all necessary support network that is out there. And there are services out there too, and there are very good services. Like one of my service users was telling me the other day how the Age UK, keeps phoning her every day to make sure that she's well.
That's great.
Reported this back to me and said, "Oh, I'm really grateful. It's not just your organization. This." And I also, sent a thank you letter to that organization to say, thank you for making sure that you're calling and checking on my service user too, which is wonderful. So we need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's really useful. So who's going to answer this?
Well, let me ask a question and you can answer it.
Okay.
Okay, here's another quiz.
But that person looks so sad. Is that person crying?
Oh, well, because it talks about depression. Okay. So true or false? True or false? Depression and anxiety are diagnosed far more in women. That's to you, Christy.
Wow. I think it's true. It's true.
Okay, explain why you think it's true.
Yes, it's true, because within my practice, that I see men and women, the most people that have come up that are being impacted upon, the psychological well-being. You remember in our women and girls empowerment, the most people that come up are women. And also there's an evidence base that I've read, looking at the, psychological well-being of people, looking at health inequalities. And the percentage that I saw, or the statistics given, that women are more prone to anxiety and depression. So that's why I reached my conclusion in a roundabout way.
Well, in a way, yeah, of course. And also, I think I like the word diagnosed, because again, we are more likely to go for help. Also, so when we get to that point, we can talk. Men often will hold theirs and still carry on attempting to live a normal life whilst they're dying. So they very, very irregularly go to the doctors to find out, if something was wrong with them or something. So,
or maybe that also has a knock-on effect.
Eventually, yes.
Because when it becomes so bad,
exactly, it becomes suicidal. Yeah,
the suicidal ideation and actually carrying it to become
of course.
Yeah. So now, so what are the things that you should do? We've mentioned some of the things that one could do to ensure that their mental health stays positive during this time and beyond. What other things can we do to improve our mental well-being? We've mentioned briefly the first one, that we, get the knowledge, take control. You see, at this point, you are told, if you go out and say, I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling that way, and you receive a clarification or a diagnosis and say, oh, you have a mental illness, So what next should you do? Go out there and get knowledge. What diagnosis have I been given? What does it actually mean? Ask questions. Try to ask from people that have been, have had similar diagnoses. There are also services that look after some of those people with some of those diagnoses. Get in touch with them. Find out what support support that is available out there. Also, one good thing about the internet that we have nowadays. Google. If you don't go,
ask Dr. Google.
And in the olden days, you wouldn't, the help is not there. You can't just sit at home and get knowledge like that.
I mean, olden days, we're talking about a few years back, right?
Oh, yes, yeah.
In today's world, olden days is like last year or something, because technology evolves very, very quickly, very fast.
Exactly. So find out from people that have similar diagnoses, and find out how they're coping with it and what has helped them to manage those issues. And also seek help. Your GP, some people are not using the GP services now. They think that the GPs have also
too busy
gone away because of COVID. No, the practice is still there.
Yeah, still okay.
The idea is that because you're not seeing them, you're not phoning every minute and going, walking into the surgery, does not mean they're not there. all, NHS services are still there. I told you yesterday, I had my physiotherapist.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we had a few by Skype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy that?
Is there. So
did you enjoy that? Did you enjoy that?
Yes, I did. And for the fact that I had somebody at the other end who was looking at me through this Skype, and I wore my joggers, short joggers, and he could see my knees, and I'm saying, oh, hello, are you seeing my knee now? Could you compare the left to the right? And he still stand straight, do that. And he also stood up and gave me the exercise of, one leg standing like that, like a tree, and this and that. So we did all the exercises and we booked another appointment. The idea that he was there, a specialist, to even talk through the situation with me was very helpful.
Yeah, it's interesting, I keep talking about this new normal that we're about to enter, because if you could have your physio appointment using Skype, who knows what the future is going to be?
You may not need to go anywhere. You may not need to leave home to get the treatment you need.
Yeah.
That's because nowadays you don't even need to go to the surgery to check your BP and all that. You could do it here, and there's an app that you could use. Place your finger, and it will check everything for you. You know. And so, look beyond drug therapy. We've said it before. Exercise, eat properly. So look, talk to others. Exactly, talking therapy. Talk to other people. You don't need to talk to a specialist if you don't want to. You talk to your family, talk to your neighbors, talk to your mentors and your church people, people that you trust. Talk to them and use them as a sounding board to offload some of debris for some of the issues that you have. So now check your lifestyle. I always use that word, MOT. Yeah, if we can do MOT on our cars, then we must do MOT on ourselves.
That's true.
Don't you think so?
I totally agree. Agree.
So sit down and check yourself. What am I doing? How am I living my life? Do I have a work, family, life balance? Am I eating properly? Am I going to bed early enough? Am I sleeping when I'm even in bed? So what are the things that I'm doing that may be affecting my mental well-being? So just think about this and be truthful to yourself. Don't try to sweep things under the carpet, and because nobody will know what I'm doing. And I've seen people that smoke and drink a lot, and when they go to their GP, and the GP said, "Oh, listen, I'm checking you over, and there are things going on here. You need to eat properly." Oh, and this person goes to the junk food plate. I don't know. I'm doing my best. It's just I have big bones. That's the excuse. Oh, I just have big bones. I eat properly and I do exercise. I go for walks. But this person is a couch potato. And also drinking also. Oh, no, I'm a social drinker. I only drink a glass of wine now and then. You see what I mean? So be honest to yourself and, check what you're doing and, take stock and change your attitude and your health beliefs and health attitude. That will help.
That's right.
You may need a change of scene also, because sometimes if you're in one place, we get bored easily in parts on the way we feel. So we may need to also change the scene. But what we say this time of COVID, I know you're coming with that. This time of COVID, when we are stuck at home, how do you say change of scene? So how do we do that then?
Because it's good to apply these things to this current situation. Change of scene, sometimes it's just, what you have to do is leave where you are and maybe just go to the garden and sit down, or go and walk around your building, your block, or take a good walk. And by the time you come back, spend at least maybe an hour just walking around. Obviously you can't go and sit in the park or what because of the restrictions, but just
run a bath. Why not run a bath?
Yeah, run a bath. Get in the kitchen and do some cooking if you're that way inclined, and get away from if the scenery that is causing that anxiety or frustration is in the living room where the television is. Turn it off. Go to another room and just change your scenery. Doesn't really, or change your scene doesn't necessarily have to be go on holidays.
Exactly.
It could well be even walk down to the shops and come back, something like that.
Exactly. Some people will say, why you say change of scenery when we are in a lockdown?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. The one I found that made me laugh, the other day on the telly, a couple like this turned on their television and saw, a beach, kind of a holiday place, and in the beach and all that. So they wore like swimming trunks and put in a sun hat, and and just laid a towel on the sofa and brought some drinks and things to chew, some bites, and they just sat down. And I was laughing with my family. They sat down like that, as if they were on, in the beach front, and they were eating and chewing things. And that's change of scenery. They were still
imaginative, isn't it?
Yes, they were still in the living room, but believe me, they were in a sunshine country, in the sea front, eating and drinking and all. And that was nice. That was good. I love that idea.
And some people is reading because you escape into a book, into another realm altogether that the book is offering you. There are so many ways you can do that.
Exactly. So another thing we've talked about not drinking all those things, not just alcohol, but caffeine, things that are made of caffeine, tea, coffee, Coca-Cola, and all fizzy kind of drinks. Be mindful of what you're eating. Be mindful of the way you eat it. You just talked about spending time outdoors if it's possible. Spend time outdoors, go for brief walks and all that, and come back. And another thing you could do to improve your well-being is to set goals, very smart goals of what to do. Have something to look to, something that you're looking towards to do, And so I think that will be very helpful. If you don't have a goal, if you don't have anything that you're striving to achieve, then just tiny things that you could do. That will be much helpful for you. And that will help you to cope. So that will help you to improve your resilience, actually.
I think I was telling you before we started, that we're talking about setting goals, as one way of distracting oneself from the news that is so so not depressing to that extent, but you know what I mean. So very, very emotional, very, very overwhelming. It's even just to say, I'm going to finish reading this book, or I'm going to take that qualification, I'm going to improve my skills during this time. There are so many ways we can do it. Now, if we go back to the first one, tea, coffee, and what have you, caffeine is what for many people keeps them awake. So if we're talking about you need at least 8 hours sleep, and here you are, you're taking loads of caffeine in your coffees and water, you will struggle to get that. And I don't know about anyone else. If I don't have enough sleep, I'm cranky. I really, I don't have myself together. I cannot think straight.
Yes.
So it's important that that sleep, we get that, because in sleep, your whole body is rested, your mind is rested. So
Yeah.
let's really pay particular attention to, that first part, drinking of tea, cola, and all those things, wines and things like that anyway, because they will affect your nighttime rest.
Yeah. Also, there's a very key thing to say here is to talk about the patterns of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
The way we think, will also affect our mental well-being.
Mm.
Do you want to add something about, that?
Yeah, I'm just looking around here. It's not here. This is a tiny book. It says, as a man thinketh. Okay.
Yeah.
And I can't think of the author here.
No,
But
as a man thinketh, so he is.
yeah, but this book is as a man thinketh.
Okay.
And but yeah, the whole idea is that, as a man thinketh, so he is, coming from the Bible.
Yes.
But this little book was written out of it, and it's so very tiny but very powerful. It is really just hammering on, you watch what goes on into you, because your mind is often the battlefield of everything, okay, of your life. So if you feed it positive things, your life will reflect positivity.
Yeah,
If you
exactly.
feed, you take in all the negatives, COVID this, and especially this time, we're not only dealing with the news, legitimate news coming from legitimate sources. We now have people who are quite competent with technology. So
Oh, yeah.
they can even send out their fake news. So you're getting news from every corner, every place. So read this and don't read that. And you're feeding, it's almost like you're throwing dirty water into your cup, So you don't want that. Get rid of all those grinds and slime, and feed your mind with things that are wholesome. Think about like the analogy you use, this couple who, okay, they just realized, what, we can't go to the beach, we can't go on a
Holiday.
but we're going to make this living room, okay, a sunny place, imagining that they have actually built up that holiday scenery in their mind.
Yeah, exactly. Positive thinking. Yeah.
That's it. And no, I think patterns of thinking, really just watch, stop to think, what am I focusing on at this moment in time? It's so important. It's so important. Those of us who, let me not say us, because I rarely spend time watching the news. But if you are spending a lot of time just, absorbing the news, what is that doing for you? You really need to look at yourself and realize that what you are accumulating, you feeding your mind on, is probably what is keeping you awake and affecting your mental health.
Yes, you are right. You are right by what you said. Let me tell you, since yesterday, when the news came up to say that Black Asian minority ethnic community are dying more and are going to die from COVID-19. I have received many calls from that group, the communities, saying they're worried, are very worried about that news. And some of them are believing that means, oh, there's something wrong with them. It's going to happen to them. It's just self-fulfilling prophecy. They've said it, so it's going to happen to us. It's going to happen to us. And I'm saying to them, they've said that is the statistics they've got from what has happened. There are many underlying issues. It's all BME people are not in the same boat. We all may be in the same situation, but there are differences within these communities, and and as individuals, there are differences also. because everybody in that community, they said everybody in that community that are prone to that, does not mean that it will happen to you. Remember, there are also circumstances of people are quite different. So health and social inequalities. So we look at your health. There may be underlying health issues. Then also deprivation, poverty also affect. There are things that, poverty compounds all sorts of issues. And so I said to them, you have to be careful. Don't buy into the idea that because you are not a mainstream person, they're going to die. And the danger also of that comment or the news yesterday, in the area where I live now, all the mainstream people from the mainstream community left home and they're all in the shops. All the shops opened. Everybody, they're all sitting down in the high street together, rubbing bodies together, because they believe now that, oh, if it happens to them, they're going to stay alive. But if it happens to a BME person, they will die. So that's the danger. So it's two-edged sword, It can fall anywhere. So, but what in the essence, what we are saying is that do not think negatively. Be positive. And if you are positive, you work towards positivity, and things will work out for you.
That's right. Okay? I agree.
So we have this next slide. And that's the key one. And I think I used that this particular point yesterday. Do something that you love. Somebody was interviewing me, a newspaper was interviewing me yesterday morning, and they said some of the things that I like doing, and I said, I love doing, what I love doing is my job. I love my work. And I said, because I don't see it as my job.
That's right.
It's my hobby. It's something that gives me satisfaction. It's not something that pays my bill. So if you look at your work as something that pays your bill, then it becomes stressful. So you must work at something that you enjoy doing. And then the payment, the money that you get from it is now a fringe benefit. And so in life, do whatever that you find that makes you happy, that you love doing. So find something. If it's reading books this time, if you like reading novels, if you like crossword puzzle, jigsaws, if you like knitting, just go on. If you like baking, whatever it is that you like doing. At home here, one of the members of my family now is DIY every second. Per second. It's not ever stopping. He loves it. You see, he's looking for this wood there to do that. He's looking for that paint to paint the fence. And he loves it. And he's always singing and whistling all over the place. So do what you like to do. If it's gardening, go out there and plant flowers. Okay? And you talked about keeping your brain active. You talked about, reading and all that. So, and try studying. Use this time to improve yourself, because you are not going to be in this dark situation forever. What if we come out of the dark situation and you lost 2 months or 3 months or 4 months of your life? You have nothing to show for it.
Sure.
That would be so appalling.
So it's better. It would be a big waste.
Exactly. And time wasted, you cannot get it back again. So why not build yourself? Build yourself for a new future.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and stop putting down yourself. I told somebody yesterday, stop putting down yourself. Oh, I'm so big. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm not very intelligent. With this COVID that is happening now, all the jobs are gone. And when the lockdown is called off, how do I get a job? I'm not really very educated. I can tell you all the excuses I'm getting and all the negativities that people are phoning to tell me about themselves. And I say, hold on. You may not be very intelligent, like, I don't know what you mean by intelligent. That's being subjective, actually. You may not have all these qualifications like those other people, but you have some skills.
Mm-hmm.
We all have skills that we can transfer into something.
True.
So sit down, get a sheet of paper and your pencil, and make note down all the things that you can do, and also note the things that you can't do. Check both sides and see which one. Believe me, I will tell you that the things you can do will be more than the things that you can't do. Believe me, try it out yourself. The things you can do in life, if you take stock of all of them, will be much more than the ones that you can't do. Why not transfer your can-dos? Use it to move the mountain at the end of the COVID. Find something that you could do. Don't start stressing and getting worked up and, impacting on your mental well-being. When you get to the bridge, you must find a way to cross the bridge. Don't you think so?
I agree. I mean,
find a way to cross the bridge. Yeah. Stay alive till you get to that bridge.
It's it was in the last slide when we talked about talk to someone and open up and things like that. Sometimes I do talk to myself.
Yeah.
I do look at myself in the mirror and tell me what I need to be reminded of. And this thing about stop putting yourself down, you look at yourself and you look at yourself in the mirror and say, girl, you stop it.
Yeah.
You're more than that. Just start talking, speak to yourself. There's no one there, speak aloud. I know for some people it might be crazy, but I do that because that helps me from time to time. So when you find that you're beginning to compare yourself with others, or compare yourself with, what your perceived ideology is, that is unreal, I think it's time for you to sit down and just re-examine where that sits, where is the root of that belief, okay, where is it rooted? And then try and get rid of it. Is it from something that someone had told you in the past? Is it from something that, even sometimes it could be members of our household or teachers or what have you?
Yes.
It's becoming self-belief. So stop putting yourself down. There's a lot going for you. If you're not in hospital dying of COVID, there is so much going for you.
Exactly.
There's a lot going for you. So you know what? I know it's going to be hard. It's easier said than done, but look, there is always somebody around to help you. So please, please, please stop putting yourself down. You are worth so much more than you even can imagine right now.
Yeah, and you're right. And talking to yourself, you're talking to your inner person. There's this inner you there that you're talking to. So you're not, that does not mean that something is wrong with you. I do talk to myself, and I find it actually very, very helpful. When you've been to my office, you see that in my office, you have a full-length mirror. Yeah? I do, sometimes I stand in front of the mirror in my office, and I talk to myself. And I say, listen, Christine, you can do it.
Yeah.
I psych myself.
Get hold of yourself, girl.
Who told you can do it? Why do you think you can do it? Those people that did it, do they have two heads? So listen, calm down, go back to the drawing board, do that. And it does. So I calm myself down and I build myself up again. And then after saying that, I go back and sit down on my chair, and I go and I find that I can walk nicely and properly. So I think the setting this, and that leads nicely to you being open and honest to yourself, because you can look through, to the mirror and look yourself in the eyes and tell yourself the truth. So that's the stepping stone to opening up and talking. And then you can move now to talk to other people and be honest with them and open up. but just try to be honest to yourself. Try to open up, seek help. Seeking help does not mean that you are, that's something wrong with you, and that the person that wants to help you is better than yourself. That's not what it means. Some people are ashamed to seek help. Some people are ashamed to even talk to other people. That, oh, they're going to laugh at me. They're going to think I'm a failure. They're going to think I'm not good enough. That's you telling yourself that. The person you are talking to or opening up to will not think. In fact, the person will appreciate that you find him or her trustworthy to even talk to. I know I feel that way. I feel appreciative that somebody could find me worthy enough to want to sound out their, feelings and tell me things. I feel actually so honored. So, and I'm sure that many other people feel that way, because if you don't value them, you can't come to tell them things.
True.
So make use of that. People are around, people that will appreciate you and appreciate your honesty to tell them things, and they are there to help you.
Okay.
Just some few people that may, think otherwise, but on the whole, we still have very wonderful people that are so willing to, to walk the length to help people. Okay? And stop worrying. Worrying is the what will you say? Is it the cat amongst the birds or so? So people,
it's not going to do you any good. And sometimes the things that you worry about are the things that are very unlikely to even happen.
And are petty things, very petty things,
And one of the things that people worry about is that when we talk about, being confident and, being in touch with your feelings, they look at you, Christine, and they say, oh, but I'm not like her, I can't do that. They don't know your journey, where you've come from before you got here. So you know what? There's plenty of time. Start from where you are and develop yourself. Reach out, stop worrying. If you don't have it today, be realistic about what your feelings are and what your goals are. Start from today and start developing where you're going. Who knows how long we're going to be in the lockdown for? So you know what? Start now.
And start now. And also make time. Make time to talk to your family.
Yeah.
Make time to talk to your children if you have them around you. Talk to them. Make sure if you have children that are meant to be in school and they're not in school, make sure that you're talking to them. They're missing their friends. And so we're in the final thoughts now. They're missing their friends. Just like you're missing your place of work, just like you're frightened about your sources of income. The young people also have worried about their exam and the result. How is it going to impact on their future? Are we going to make good grades? What happens when we're not seeing our friends? What I encourage my young one to do is to form a Zoom group. So my 15-year-old daughter formed a Zoom group with her friends. So they're doing quiz night. So they do quiz night, and they also arrange to learn some dance routine, and they do it on Zoom. So
some people use house party to have a family, quizzes, family time, and what.
Exactly. If you have Scrabble, play Scrabble.
Yeah.
We play, dance and all that. There are many things to do together. Do it with them. Talk to them also. Listen to their fears, because they have fears. You can't say, oh, because they're kids, they don't have anxieties and all that. They are stressed, they're so stressed. So talk to them and find out what's in their mind, and put them at ease. So go to the web, the resources we have after this particular slide. Yes, that's the resources. There are help for young people So look at all these resources. The one that World Health Organization, this one here, yes, https /www, who, that will lead you to the one for the young children. There's another one, helping young children. Second to the last one is also very good for you as a parent or a significant carer to help your young person to address the stress that they have at this time. And it's printable, so you can print it out, read it, and use it as a working tool to help your young person.
That's the one for children.
Yes, that's the one for young people, the children.
Yeah, you can see my mouse.
Yes, that's really wonderful. And so we will stop and have some few minutes break before we regroup again. Is that okay?
Yes, very okay. And sorry, I've just got the slide for next. It is not Friday the 11th, it is Monday the 11th. So pardon me.
So do you want to change it now? Do you want to change it?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, change that. Wow, it's good you found out.
You can imagine what time we actually do these things.
So that's Monday, isn't it?
Monday 11th.
Yeah.
And the topic is still to be decided.
We have somebody that is going to join us in hosting Monday's discussion. So we're waiting for her to bring up her topic, because
to be confirmed.
Yeah, to be confirmed. Yeah. So we're still waiting on that, and so we're going on a short break now, comfort break and all that, and we'll network with one another, and before we come back for the final phase.
Okay, see you shortly.
See you soon. Oh my goodness. What did I do?